How are you making things harder for yourself right now? Are you very used to things being hard in your life? So I think there is a common myth, or not even a myth, but a common idea circling around certain culture and like certain upbringing. I think especially amongst Asian culture and amongst immigrants, there's this idea of that we have to work really, really hard in order for us to have the success and have the kind of achievements that we would like to have in our life. Like we have to work really, really hard for it. And that we can't like things come from hard work. How many times have you heard your parents or people around you telling you that you have to work really hard for something? Money doesn't grow on trees, success doesn't grow on trees. You have to really work hard for it. And it's almost like we have to climb up this whole effing mountain to get to the very top for our success and for our achievements to feel like, okay, this whole journey is worth it and that we are finally worthy of it because we have worked so hard. Look, this is how hard I've worked. Now I'm finally worthy of having this specific milestone, this specific achievement because I worked so hard to get here, right? And at one point, like I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but at the same time, there's also this other side to it of that we have to prove our worth. We have to prove our worth through how hard things were in our life, how much we have suffered, how hard, how much effort we put into something, then we can finally have it. We can't just let it be easy. We can't just let all this amazing things suddenly appear in our life. We can't just let it feel effortless, let it be easy. Let us be, let it be like have it just come to us so gently and so easily and so effortlessly. Because then, like, if that happens, then something must be wrong. Like it must be a fluke, or we were just lucky, right? And so just kind of notice where that happens for you. How are you making things a lot harder in your life? And in what ways is your subconsciously are you trying to make things hard for you so you can actually be deserving and be worthy of your success and be worthy of the things that you have created for you, right? Notice where you're asking yourself that you can't let it be easy and you can't let yourself just have it. Otherwise, it's not going to count, or otherwise, it won't count. It means I'm just lucky. It just means it's a fluke, right? I'm sure that this probably happens to you. I know that in my own entrepreneur journey, I used to have like this thought towards money of that I had to work really hard for money. And in many ways, I think sometimes it still shows up for me as well in my journey, is that I had to work really hard for money. Money can't come to me easily. I had to work hard for it. And so one of the mantras that I had to really rewire in my brain and really let myself kind of like drill into my head is the idea that money comes to me easily, naturally, effortlessly, and it still counts. It's so important for me to add that part into the belief that I'm trying to work on. It still counts. Money can come to me easily, success can come to me easily, naturally, effortlessly, and it still counts. It still counts because sometimes like I would get into this place where I would just make money and I would be like, wait, how did I do that? I have no idea how I did it. Oh, it must be a fluke. Oh, it just kind of happened. I have no idea how it happened. Right. And then like I will trick myself into thinking that, oh no, that still doesn't count. Oh no, but I'm still not there yet. That doesn't count. Right. So just kind of catch yourself whenever it shows up for you. Notice where that comes up for you in your life. Where are you feeling like this relationship is supposed to feel hard? Where is it feeling like, okay, this job is supposed to feel so hard, right? Like this specific project I'm working on is supposed to feel so hard. Otherwise, it doesn't count because I can't just have it. I can't just let it be easy, right? And when we are so used to needing for things to be hard, then that means when things are okay, when things are just okay in your life and when things are actually fine and going well in your life, we try to create problems and we try to create drama in our head because we're so used to living in a habitual pattern of things feeling so hard. So I really kind of notice, right? If it can just feel so easy for you instead of feeling like you're climbing up a whole mountain, what if you can get to the same goal and instead let the experience of it, let the process of it feel like you're in flow, just kind of going downstream, right? You're like rolling the boat very easily and very gently because you're just on a boat and you're riding along with the currents. There are so many forces outside of your control that are all working with you, right? Spiritually, um, or just physically, other people, energy, everything can just feel like you're on a stream going downstream. It can feel that easy. And notice when I describe this vision, this experience for you, I want you really like, if you can, if you're not driving or, you know, focusing on something, take a moment to just pause and just maybe close your eyes and imagine that image for yourself. What if there is no problem right now? What if right now things can just feel like you're on a boat and you're just going downstream with the flow? And it feels so easy, it feels effortless, and you're moving towards the goal that you want to achieve, right? It's like you can get to the same place, the same destination, but you're so used to climbing up the hill, like you have to climb up the hill to get to the other side. Whereas the universe is telling you like, hey, there's this stream over here. It's going exactly towards the destination that you want to go. Why don't you let yourself take a pause, right? Take a step back and hop onto the boat instead, so that you can let yourself roll with me down the stream and let believe, right? And trust that things are all going according to your plan. And I can just feel this way. When you close your eyes to imagine this image for yourself, how does that feel for you in your body? How does that feel for you in the nervous system? If you're very used to it feeling hard for a while, it's going to feel like your nervous system will kind of freak out a little bit. It's going to be like, wait, what? This is so weird. This is so awkward. Why? Like something is wrong. Something bad is happening because it can't feel like this. It's not supposed to feel like this. So let yourself just be here and like take one deep breath in, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then slowly exhale out through your mouth. And just let yourself be here and tell yourself that things can just come to me easily, naturally, and effortlessly, and it still counts. The other thing I want to say is that as you've raised to a new level of frequency, a new level of success and productivity, and that you've had a big change in your life, there is a specific like you've stepped out of a specific norm of what you've used to, then sometimes what we do is our brain tends to create problems for it to go back to what we were used to in the past. So maybe you just got a new job, or you just moved to a new place, or you've just accepted a new lot of clients coming in, or maybe it's you start a new project. You brought in a lot more income compared to previous months. All of these things is suggesting that all of a sudden you are being called to increase to a new level of success, a new level of productivity, being asked to do more, to be with more, and to have the capacity to do more at one time than what you were used to before. This is when our brain can come in and kind of create some problems for us. There is a book by Gay Hendricks. It's called The Big Leap. And in there, he talks a lot about the upper limit problem. It's an amazing book. Highly recommend you go and check it out. It's called The Upper Limit Problem, where sometimes when we reach a certain success, when we step out of a thermostat of what we were used to, of our natural normal, then we subconsciously sabotage ourselves or create problems so that we can bring ourselves back down to what we were used to, right? So this is when we start to create some sort of problem for ourselves, telling us that, oh no, you're being too happy right now. Okay, let's tone it down. Life is doing too good right now. Something bad must be happening, right? Your business is doing well right now. Okay, like be careful because the next shoe might drop. This is when we create the upper limit problem happens and we kind of create problems for us to go back to what we're used to. An example is one of my clients recently, she just grew, she is working on growing her team. So she just hired a new team member and she just launched a new project that she is working on. And so she's being asked all of a sudden, instead of seeing her as just a content creator and just someone who, has a community online, all of a sudden being asked and being called to really see herself as a CEO, to manage people, to manage her team, to have a launch plan, to have multiple projects and multiple things that she's taking care of and looking after at the same time. And it's very interesting because she comes to me and she's telling me that she feels kind of disconnected from her content. And she is doing so much. She's so busy, but she's loving what she does. But she often has this idea of like, what if one day I get bored? What if one day that all of this doesn't make sense anymore? And can I really keep all of this up? Even though she's having the best time of her life right now and she's really thriving in her work and she's really loving what she does, right? And I just kind of really let her see that. And I offer that, oh, what if your brain right now is just creating problems because everything is actually going very well right now? Like, what if there's no specific problem that's actually happening in your life right now? And the brain's like, oh, wait, something feels off. I stepped out of the thermostat of what I've been used to, the capacity I've been used to being with. Something must be happening. What is the problem here? And as we talk through it, she was like, oh, actually, this is something that we've talked about a long time ago. There was a time when I didn't want to focus my 100% of every single day on creating content. And now I'm not spending that much time on content. I'm only spending 30% on content and other 40, 50% is on other projects, on my team, right? Like this is exactly the kind of life that I wanted to have. And yet it's so interesting how her brain is telling her that, hey, you're not spending that much attention on your content, you're disconnected from it. Like you're disconnected from your people. When in fact, that is not true at all. Right. And isn't it so interesting how, because she's so focused on her work, she's so, in what she does, and she's like really focused on it, and there's so many things going on that her brain is also feeding her the idea that what if you can't keep this up? What if you like one day decide to just exit this whole thing and like not be a content creator, just not show up online at all, right? And just it's interesting how she's not even there yet, but she's already thinking about that, right? Like her brain is creating, giving her all these weird and like all these anxious scenarios for her to entertain herself with and for her to go down there. So what if the problem that you are creating for yourself right now, like whatever it is, the problem that you have right now, this is actually what you've always wanted to have. Like I really want you to sit with this. What if this is a problem that you once wanted to have, but right now, because now that you have it and you haven't yet settled into this new normal, into this new current capacity, like energetically and nervous system level, for you to be okay with this level of productivity, for you to be okay with this level of capacity, for you to hold this this scale, of like the things in your life. And that's why your brain is making it into a problem. And what if this is actually something that you actually wanted to have? And you just haven't really given yourself the time and the space to let yourself really simmer in the success that you have created, into the amazingness and all the achievements and all the things that you have recently just done for yourself and just invited into your life. Have you taken the time out to really let yourself to acclimate at this stage, to acclimate and appreciate and taking all the things that are already in your life that you already have, that's already here? Because when we forget to do that, then we miss it. And then we just feel like the problem is still there, or we end up creating new problems because we are so used to feeling anxious. We are so used to working so hard. We are so used to the feeling of chasing after something that you don't have instead of being with and truly allowing yourself to appreciate and focus on what you do have and what you already have and you already have created, right? And then like amplifying that feeling of having, because what you feel energetically is what you attract. You want to become a match for what you attract into your life. And so if you create abundance right now, if you let yourself feel abundant, feel rich, feel appreciative, feel grateful, feel at ease, feel relaxed right now at where you are, this is the energy that will attract in more of the things that you want, more of the ease, more of the effortlessness, more abundance, more richness into your life, right? Now, if you're thinking about what you don't have, what else you have to chase after, what else you have to work towards, and if you work towards those things from lack, from I'm not good enough, from inadequacy, from unworthiness, from not enough, then what ends up happening is you're going to create more of that. Like your whole journey to reaching that next milestone is to feel like it's going to feel like you're not good enough. Your whole journey to reaching that next goal it's going to feel like it's so hard. Everything is so hard. You can't make it. It's going to be filled with a lot of doubt, a lot of worry, a lot of I can never get there, a lot of hard. Like things are going to feel very, very hard for you because this is the energy and the space that you're living in right now, right? So just allow yourself to notice that. And the phrase that I always love so much is a quote by Melanie and Layer, and she talks about how um, 1 foot in appreciation and 1 foot in gratitude and 1 foot in. Okay, wait. Okay, I just um Googled it and reminded myself. Okay, the quote is 1 foot in gratitude, 1 foot in desire. Right? So we always want to have a harmony of 1 foot in gratitude, appreciating what you do have, and 1 foot in desire. You're going after something from desire instead of from lack. 1 foot in gratitude, 1 foot in desire. This is the best way for you to constantly create movement in your life. Okay, the next question I want to ask you is this. What if it's not as dramatic and as serious as you think it is? I'm laughing because I need to like ask myself this question like 5 times a day. Okay, so just know that you're not the only one. What if it's actually not as dramatic and as serious as you think it is? Like one of my client, Diane, like what she always says, sometimes like she's very used to spicing things up in her life. Okay, just like when things feels too boring and too mundane, she likes to add some spice. Okay, are you adding too much spice in your life? When things are actually working, things are actually fine, are you adding extra spice into it just to create some drama? Just to let things feel very serious and very hard and making things feel very, very dramatic. Okay. And if I am asking you this question, if right now you're listening and your head is like ding ding ding, okay, this is probably the thing that you need to work on and you want to look out for right now. What I like to help people do is I want to invite you to take a step back and look at your problem and your life from a much bigger and much wider perspective. Okay, this is where we need to zoom out of our current problem, zoom out of our life, and then really see how big of a problem it really is. Because, like, while this problem that you think is a problem right now, will it still feel like a problem in 5 years? Will it still feel like a big deal for you in 5 years or even in 10 years? Like, in 10 years, okay? Whatever age you are right now, add that by 10 years. In 10 years' time, will it really matter to you if you completed your current project right now in 6 months or in 1 year? I know that sometimes people are so stuck on the timeline and they're like, I need to find a job within 6 months. I have to achieve the specific milestone in by the end of this year. And I get it. And I want to offer that sometimes it's because we are giving ourselves these strict timelines that is the reason why we don't get there. Like because the pressure of needing to meet it, it's like outwinning all the benefits that you could have gotten with the timeline. Then this is where you know that this deadline is actually not good for you. Like if this deadline is creating more stress, creating more pressure, creating more obligation, creating more, causing drama, causing scarcity, causing desperation and fear for you, instead of giving you excitement, instead of making you feel challenged in a good way, then it's probably not the timeline for you and it will do more harm to you than good. Right? And also it's just a man-made timeline. Like who decides? You are the person that decides that timeline. And so if you take a step back in 5 years, will you actually remember that? Hey, remember that time in 2024, uh, I completed this project in 5 months instead of in 10 months. I completed this project in 6 months instead of a year. Like, will you actually remember that? Right? Will it actually matter to you that, hey, I found a job in 1 year instead of in 6 months? Like, will it really matter to you that much? Will it really still feel like a big deal for you? And if it doesn't, then it just helps to bring some context, right? For you to really see that, oh, actually, whatever thing I think is a problem is a very, very serious, important problem right now. It might not be that serious. In 10 years, how do you want future you to remember this specific time in 10 years? Do you want them to like think back to this time, this period of this season, and remembering that, oh my gosh, that time I was so stressed out. I was in so much worry. I didn't take care of my health. My relationships were suffering. I did not believe in myself at all. If it just felt like such a hard time and um such a like depressing and hopeless time for me, right? Is this how you want your 10-year self to remember this season of your life right now? Or do you want them to look back at this time and to know that, okay, really um that was a really big important season in my life because there were these big challenges I'm faced with. And I really gave myself the grace to take care of my emotional health, to take care of my well-being, to give myself grace, to talk nicely to myself, to make sure that I took care of my health, that I didn't regret it, that I was still here for myself, that I surrounded myself with the right people, and I surrounded myself with the right support, with the right things around me to make sure that I can get through that time, right? How do you want your 10-year self to look back at this season of your life, and how do you want them to remember it? And what do you think they will remember, right? What do you think they really think that what you think is a problem right now, what they really think that it's a big deal? Will they even remember? Right? A lot of the times, a lot of the times we think what we're going through right now it's so, so, so important, and yet in 5 years you're probably gonna forget it. Maybe next year you're gonna forget it, right? And it's such a good way to take a step back and really look at your life as a whole. And here's the other thing I want to remind you of. In most cases, 95% of the time, maybe even 97% of the time, people don't care. Other people don't care as much as you think that you care about something. How exactly you design this email, people don't care. If you want to show up on TikTok or not, if you're showing up on TikTok or not, if you want to post this specific post in the morning or at night, people don't care. If you change your mind and decide to take 6 months off instead of taking one week, no one cares. Whether or not you change your mind and you want to end a specific promotion early or not, no one cares. In the best way. People are just living in their own head, caring about their own problems. Okay? Like you thinking you like so focused on this specific problem, specific project right now, and needing to show up a certain way in front of your people or your community. Your people right now, they're just like, maybe they're like scrolling on social media while they're eating their dinner, and they just happen to pass by this one post that you make. And they're like, okay, cool. Look over 3 seconds and then they move on, right? And they're like thinking about the problem with their mom, or they're thinking about the fact that they need to work out more, or they're thinking about what they need to do the next day, right? People don't care as much as you think that they do. And your problem might not even be as big of a deal as you think that it is. As well, there is like the reason why it feels like what you think it's so important right now, so dramatic right now, so serious right now. It's a cluster of thoughts in your brain that you're really, really zoomed in on. And right now, it feels like it's your whole life, it's your whole world because you're so focused on it. And this is what I want to offer for you to take a step back, to zoom out, take a deep breath in, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then exhale out. And repeat using the power of your breath in and out at least 4 times to calm yourself down and bring some perspective into your timeline. Bring some perspective for you to zoom out and take a look at your entire life right now. Okay? The fact that you're listening to this podcast episode or watching it, you have the access to internet, you have a rooftop over your head, you can pay your bills, you have food on the table. Life is good. And what an amazing opportunity it is for you to have these amazing things in your life where life is good, right? You could be at worse place to be born in worse places and for worst things, or many, many worse things to happen in your life right now, and you're not. And one amazing thing it is that you are faced with this problem instead of other problems. And how is this a good problem right now? Like, how might this be actually a good problem for you to have? Think about that. What I love to tell people a lot of the times is what an amazing problem that you have right now. What a great problem. This is such a good problem to have, right? So with this, what if it's not as serious as you think it is? What if we can look at our life from a more lighthearted perspective, right? If you really think about it, all that really happens is we are stuck in this, we are being put into this world we're stuck in this meat suit that we are all in, and being given certain assignments and certain quests in this game of life. And we make different choices, we meet different characters, we go down different paths, right? We experience different things, and then we die. Okay, not trying to be morbid, but like this is what happens, and then life ends. And this is the kind of life that we can have. And so if we not let our mind or let the seriousness of the exact problem be feel so serious, and that's when we can bring some lightheartedness into our situation. We can look at our problems, the things that we are solving for on a daily basis from a more lighthearted, playful perspective. I want to offer you this is a really, really amazing way to live your life. Not saying that you can get to, not saying that it's always going to feel like this, but we can start to train our mind to focus on this kind of perspective more and more often, and like really train our mind to think and to look and to feel from a different perspective. All right. I hope that this episode has been helpful for you. Question for you to sit with is, how are you making things harder for yourself right now? And what if it doesn't have to feel this hard? Have an amazing week. I will talk to you next time. Bye.